up, guys? Welcome to the MTM channel. Let's do the handshake in 3, 2, 1. Boom, boom, bang! So in this video, we'll be doing a topic. It's English space. So I'm going to read this out. Then we're going to answer 8 questions. I want you guys to comment below all the questions. First, you need to like and subscribe. Let's get to 100 subscribers. Thank you for the 116 subscribers. Let's have more than that, okay? Let's go. Starting off with Blast Off. On April 11th, 3 astronauts climbed aboard the Apollo 13. They blasted off the Kennedy Space Center. In Florida, USA crew was made up of Commander James Lovell and pilot Fred Hayes and Jack Swigert. Lovell had already been to the moon and was the most experienced on board. On the mission suffered bad luck from the beginning. One of the original pilots was replaced by Swigert just 2 days before blastoff. This was because he had been exposed to a virus NASA days before blast off. This was because sorry guys, decided it was too big a risk for a virus to go into space. So Swigert had only a couple of days to be ready for the mission. Odyssey and Aquarius. So, before I read this one out, what do you think? Why was he not a space yet? Then, the Apollo 13 was made up 2 different spacecraft. So what happened was, he had a virus. So I want you to comment down below what happened when the NASA employees replaced that virus guy but Swigert was the new one. The Apollo 13 was made up of 2 different spacecraft. The Odyssey and Aquarius. They were connected to each other by a tunnel. Odyssey was where the crew lived. The Aquarius was designed for landing on the moon at first. The Apollo 13 mission went perfectly there. Mission was to explore the surface of the moon, to taking photographs and getting samples of the moon's surface. The crew were also going to film videos in space for television. An explosion on the 13th of April. Before I read this, what happened on Apollo? What were they trying to get? What was the mission? So we could reload your brain. What was the mission? Comment down below. What was the mission? An explosion. Maybe that can give you a hint. On the evening, on the 13th of April, disaster struck. An explosion rocked the spacecraft. Swigert reported the explosion. The mission control in Houston, he exclaimed, "Houston, we've had a problem. Houston, we've had a problem. We got a problem." An oxygen tank had exploded and caused serious damage from the window. The astronauts could see oxygen escaping into the atmosphere. The crew was stranded in space with damaged spacecraft. Okay. What was that day? What was the month and the day? What was the day this happened? Okay, what happened that day? What was it? What was the day? What was the month? Exclaiming, Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a problem. Here, we had a problem here. An oxygen tank had from the window, and the astronauts could see gas escaping into the atmosphere. Worryingly, this gas was oxygen. There is no oxygen in space. So without the oxygen tanks, the crew would have not survived. So the explosion changed Apollo 14's story from a research mission into a rescue mission. The crew was stranded in space with a damaged spacecraft. It would take an immense amount of teamwork and violence to get the crew safely. The crew moved into Aquarius, which became a lifeboat for them. The Odyssey was shut down and conserved as much power as possible for the journey home to Earth. To return home, the crew had to run the spacecraft for just enough time to direct it to Earth. The timing had been carefully calculated by both mission control and the crew. If they even had a few seconds wrong, Apollo 14 would miss the Earth by thousands of miles. Everyone was relieved when the plan worked. Difficult conditions on board. Now, before I read the next one, why did they want to return home? Post it in the comment, okay? This will give you a hint why. Life in space was very difficult. For the crew, all power was turned off except for intentional system. It was extremely cold and caused connections, water, and so cramped it was difficult for the crew to sleep. The astronauts were weakened by these conditions, even developing kidney infections. The crew were anxious, but felt supported by mission control, who were working hard to rescue them. Soon, there was another problem. Too much carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide had built up. The crew, Apollo 13, had to build a special filler to use, using only a contents